Trapped by the belief that I'm not good enough, bound by the limitations and the lies that consumed my world, this was me. It wasn't until I took the biggest leap in my life to know and trust the power within. And it was at that moment I made a choice. My past will not define me anymore. Hello, I am Teri, and I know I am not alone in this. Over the years, I have found that the number one mistake that we make is that we get in the way of our own success story. Yes, I said it. On this show, together we'll tackle limiting beliefs, self sabotage, getting stuck, fear, doubt, overwhelm, and the imposter syndrome. Join us on this journey designed to transport you beyond your limitations to a world where anything is possible. This is Talking with Teri. Hi, and welcome back to Talking with Teri, where we have powerful conversations to transform your life and your business. And I am super excited to have our guest, Julie, with us today. She is the director of Mary Kay. She's been with them for over 25 years. She's also the managing director of eWomenNetwork. And I'm excited to hear her story, how she came to be where she's at today. So, Julie, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks, Terry. Thanks for having me.
Yes. So for folks that don't know you yet,
Yes.
bring us up to speed as far as, how you got to be where you're at today.
Okay, so in a nutshell, I was in corporate America for many years. I was a district manager, so outside sales to major accounts, and I got married and we wanted to start a family, and I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And my ex said, well, that's great, but don't spend any money. And I'm like, okay. So I did that for 2 years, but I spent money. And he said, can you find a hobby that doesn't involve going to the mall and the American Express card? And I'm like, oh, but we're having so much fun. So Mary Kay found me. I said no for 5 years because I didn't want to schlep lipstick because I was a corporate woman and I thought it was for old women.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yes. But when I had my second child, I always said I had like mommy mush brain. There was something more. Like I loved being a mom, but I knew there was something more for me. And I didn't really want to go back to corporate and have a career yet. I really still wanted to have my kids be first in my priorities. So I said yes. And I have never looked back from 25 years. So.
And that's incredible. And you've grown the company. You've grown the company. You've been successful with growing the company, which, I literally was just talking to my director of operations yesterday, and we had this conversation about, multi-level marketing companies. And, depending on, the person, there's so many different things that really, I think you have to have all of it for it to be successful, right? It's a little bit more like involved than we think looking out, because it's like, oh yeah, anyone can do that. But I don't think that that's true. And if you look at them, and I don't have all the numbers, but I know that it's a very small percentage of folks that get to where you're at. So it's incredible.
Yeah. And, you brought up a good point because I have a new team growing, a different leg of my team coming in. And they're from like 18 years old to in their 50s. So that's tricky as well. Me trying to be the hip mom, grandma, whatever I am to them.
Get it. Yeah.
And it's not for everybody. I actually just had a customer join my team recently, and I just knew it wasn't for her, and she wanted to give it a try. And really, I just asked her to be okay with being a customer. It's okay. She's like, okay. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
And you got to come from service and not from sales. And people think from what they've seen other people do in network marketing and direct sales is that you need to be salesy and you need to be pushy. And that's total opposite of that.
Yeah. And I think that's where there's been some damage that has happened. Not from Mary Kay, but just like, in other companies, in general, that piece has been there. But like, we got to, when we come from a place of service, it makes it, it feels different. It
feels
different.
Good.
It feels more, and it helps people get more in alignment with it,
right.
So that
Definitely.
they can serve. So it's powerful. I love it. So I love hearing about folks in which they've overcome a challenge,
Mhm.
a barrier, or block. And as a result of that, they have been able to create more, experience more, because I just think that that's the yumminess in life.
Yes.
And I think we've all experienced some sort of transformation in our life. When was, tell me about a time when that was the case for you.
Oh, wow. Okay, this is real easy because those big things in your life that they are, what is it, three Ds, like death, divorce, and I don't even know what the other D is. There's three
I
Ds.
don't know. I'm trying to think
I
of what
don't,
the
I
other
can't
third
remember
one
what it is, but
is.
there's three Ds: death, divorce, and I think like devastation or destruction or something.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
yeah.
what it is.
Let's go
But
with that.
yeah, I never thought I'd be divorced. You don't get married to think like, oh, I'll be divorced one day, right?
Yeah.
And so my ex and I and my kids were little. We moved from New York all the way to California, and
Wow.
that was a big transition. I was a brand new sales director about a year, so I had a team that was just growing, and I still need to nurture them. But I was like praying for God to expand my business, and I kept saying it every day. And he came home one day and he said, "How would you think about moving to California?" And I'd always said no about moves. No, no, I don't want to leave my family. I don't want to leave my friends. Now I have a new business and lived there my whole life, right? And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, we have to go." And he's like, "What?" I go, "I've been praying for God to enlarge my territory." And who am I to say, "Oh no, that's too big." I
Yeah.
wasn't thinking that big. So we moved across the country, and it was scary. It was exciting. It was like, oh my gosh, I dreamt about California. I never thought I would live here. So that was a big, we have a little visitor on site.
I know. Do you see him? I was like,
Yeah.
look at this,
Is it a kitty? I see
no,
a tail.
it's a dog that's half cat. So it's
Oh,
a miniature Dachshund.
oh my gosh. I see the tail. It looks like a cat tail. Yeah. So that was one big transformation and transition point in my life, starting over, really, and only knowing just the four of us, my two kids, so my kids had a big transition. But shortly, I just felt like it was where we should be. And then a few years into it, my marriage kind of crumbled. And it was,
Yeah.
you know, crumbling probably before, but you kind of just ignore it. What do? Like, you have a baby, you remodel the house. We moved across the country and
Yeah.
then we did remodel and then we divorced. So that part of my life that was like probably the most devastating thing other than losing my parents. And, that really hit me because I was in that like, oh my gosh, do I stay? Do I go? Do I go back to New York? Yeah, it was, yeah, I still get emotional, even though that was, I don't remember how many years now, 12 years, 10 years, 12 years
Yeah.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I was in, call it survival mode for
Yeah.
such a long time, like just waiting for the next shoe to drop, the next bill to come that I couldn't pay, the next, you know, call from the lawyer. I mean, it was a really,
Yeah.
really tough time in my life and
And
my
I
kids.
And I think there's been a lot of folks, and whether people that are listening right now have gone through a divorce or
Hmm.
anything else that has like pulled the rug out underneath you.
Yeah.
It's something that you weren't expecting to happen.
Yes.
And then there's this like avalanche
Hmm.
of like consequences that come as a result of it, that is like it's really about picking up those pieces.
Hmm.
And and I do think that it does allow us to be, you know, strong in the process of doing
Yes.
that. Um, and it's not for the faint of heart, but like, so what was your process? Like, how did you pick yourself back up and
Yeah.
grow from this place of devastation to a place of to where you're at today?
Yeah. Looking back, I'm like, I don't know how did I do that? Number one, I have a very strong faith. So that's number one. Number two, I have an amazing network of friends and family. Community is really big when you're
Yeah.
going through stuff like that. Um, Even though there was a portion of my life for about 2 years that I was attracting all the wrong people into my life. all the wrong men, all the wrong girlfriends, because of what I was saying to myself. It's so powerful what you say to yourself, good or bad, it shows up in your life.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
would say, I don't need a man to support me. I can do this on my own, blah, blah, blah. Well, what was I doing? Attracting men who didn't have money.
yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right. I mean, I talk a lot about, helping women.
Hmm.
What are those stories? What are those the limiting beliefs that we're telling ourselves? What
Yes.
are the words? I mean, even when we just boil it down to the words that we use
Yes.
and the power in our words. Someone had said the other day, they said, every word matters, right? Every
Yes.
word matters. And so there's a lot of women, a lot of entrepreneurs too, that we are our greatest enemy when it comes to what we say consciously
Yeah.
or unconsciously to ourselves. And you're right. So I love having you share this because so often we are telling ourselves these fantastic stories, real or made up, it doesn't matter. But if we're telling ourselves, I'm not good enough, I'm not worth this, or like you said,
Right.
like I was telling myself that I don't need a man to take care of me. And
Yeah.
then what happens is I'm attracting these men that are not even
I'm
able.
taking care of them, you know?
Yeah, like it becomes this story that like
Yeah.
starts to create this. And so it's pretty powerful to recognize A, we're doing that, but
Yeah.
two, to take the ownership to say, you know what, I'm going to shift this. I'm going to shift this for myself and for my kids, that I'm
Yes.
responsible for taking care of in that moment. And I think sometimes it's really hard for people to do that because we have this. I always tell people like we get into this reality and it it's very difficult to get out of that reality because
Yes.
everything that we're thinking about, everything that's showing up for us is actually reinforcing that in which we believe and
Yes.
that in which we're telling ourselves. So then we're like,
So
well,
true.
Terry,
Yeah.
like, this is my reality. Like, I am not having enough money to pay the bills. I am struggling. I am, not whole and complete right now because I feel like I'm
Yeah.
like all over the place and my life has been turned upside down. And so I like to share with people like we get to have this choice to create two realities.
Yes.
We can be in this reality, but we can also create another
Yeah.
reality that's detached, if you will, from this energy. And so what was a way in which you helped, obviously your faith is strong and your community
Yes.
is strong, but was there something, if you can recall back, was there something that helped support you in making that leap of faith into that new reality or
Yeah.
move into that new frame of mind? Because that's huge.
I remember specifically, I can remember where I was sitting in my home at the time. It was my second move. We had moved 5 times in 8 years, my kids and I, because we had
Wow.
to, and we lived in beautiful homes. I mean, I paid 2,500, 3,000 a month rent, beautiful homes. But I can remember sitting there going, I took a course. I found something on the internet and I took this course and I bought the book and it was writing down exactly what you want, like being so specific.
Yeah.
And so I would write down like my ideal relationship, what I don't want and what I do want and what's negotiable and what's not negotiable.
Perfect.
And somewhere in that, I was still attracting the wrong people. But then when I looked at it, I got even more concise and clear. And what you're saying is, it's so true, Terry, because my mentor and coach today will say, just make it up the way you want it to be. You're making it up anyways.
Yeah.
So why not make up, right, your new reality to be what you want?
And I think that contrast shows up for us so that we
Yeah.
can even, I think contrast creates clarity. So
Yes.
when
I
we
like that.
when we have when we are showing up and in this case like in a relationship and we're
Yeah.
like, oh, like here he is, well, okay, he has 90% of what
Yeah.
I want to create,
Yeah.
and like 10% there's something like non-negotiable, it's not 10%.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's a tweaking process. So it's like, cool. That just tells me that I'm fairly in alignment. I just got to
Yes.
tweak a couple things. And I I go back to my drawing board. I go back to my ideal
Yeah.
mate. And I go back and I'm like, okay, we just got to tweak this one more time. And then again, it's like, oh, there's some more contrast there. Okay, that's a
Yeah.
negotiable. I need to pull that one more non-negotiable in there. And then it's like maybe by the third person or whatever that looks like,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, boom, I'm
Woo,
on point. I'm
here it
in
is. He shows up. Yeah.
alignment. Hello. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't, I mean, so again, it's not like the end of the world, but it's just,
Yes.
it is like, okay, I'm on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to do some more work for myself to get really crystal clear on what it is. And you know what? 5 years ago, you might not have cared about those non-negotiables, because who you are now is so
Yes.
different than who you were then, which, I'm a big believer that, that, you know, your husband and you at that time made sense, right? And
Yeah.
what beautiful gifts, your two
Right.
children that came as a result of that, and what that's probably what helps support you in doing
Right.
this. So
Oh,
now,
yeah.
like, okay, that ended for whatever reason, and now
Yeah.
I'm on to this piece. So it's powerful to recognize that place and
It
space
is.
you're at. Yeah. So
And I think when being clear on what I accepted in a relationship showed them that you truly, do deserve to be respected. You do deserve to be happy. You do deserve to be in a relationship where somebody, um, respects you and treats you the way you want to be treated. And I remember my son one day coming home, and Michael, who I manifested, I swear, like 2 weeks after I tweaked it. We've been together 9 years now.
yay.
And my son would come home because he would come over and blow my leaves on my patio before the HOA came and did the outside. And my son would be like, Mom, is there something wrong with him? He's so nice. Like, shouldn't I be doing that? He was a teenager. I'm like, yes, you should be doing that. There's something wrong with him. He's so nice. It's like, okay,
I
you're
love
supposed to be nice. Yeah.
I'll take more of that. I'll take more
Yeah.
of niceness, right? We
Right.
can all create some more of that. I love it.
Yeah. But I think like when, that's so when I did that with my personal life, it's like, okay, well, let's show up in your business life like that as well, and sometimes you have to compartmentalize, what you're doing. And it's just for me, when I allow the right people to come into my space, then, God and the universe delivers. And it's not about going to get something, or get something from somebody. And that's what I really teach my team, especially new team members coming on, because they're thinking of like, I got to get a sale. I got to get a sale. I got to make money. I got to make money. Well, eventually, yes, you want to make money because you're in a business, and that's what businesses do, right? You want to turn a profit. But you're not turning a profit at somebody's expense. You're actually being of service to that woman or man who needs what you're offering
Yeah. Yeah.
and wants what you're offering,
Yeah. Serving whatever their pains are in their
Yeah.
life. You're being there to be of service to it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just
it's
think,
a different, yeah, it's a different mindset going out
Yeah.
from I need this sale versus
Yes.
I'm here to serve.
Right.
Different energy, different attraction ability. And like you said, like it can be a lot easier when we come from a place of service than to come from a place of service.
Yes.
I don't know about you, but I've seen that other one
Yeah.
fail miserably over and
Yes.
over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
This
And
doesn't
that's what
work.
I spend a lot of time on with my team is the mindset. It's like the skill is like 2%,
Yes.
It's
Agreed. And that's something that
mindset is everything.
Yes. I
Yeah.
hear you. I hear you. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
So is there a tool, a tip, a strategy, or something that you can share with people that has been helpful to you when it comes to, making this shift in mindset or
Yes.
showing up differently?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I have a new tool that I've just been using. I'll tell you about my current, what I've always done, and I'm perfecting a little bit more, is I do a morning routine. We've heard about the miracle morning. I was doing that before the book was written. Excuse me. So I have a routine that I do that I love in the morning that grounds me. And probably about 6 months ago, or maybe a year, I added in 10 minutes of meditation with the Calm app. I love that. I do my Bible app. I set my intentions, but what I've stumbled upon recently is an app called I Am. I love it. And
Okay.
it's free, but I did the pay version for $20 for the year.
Yeah.
And every 30 minutes on my Apple Watch or my phone, I get an affirmation sent to me.
I love
And
it.
it's amazing because when you look at it, it's like, oh my gosh, how did it know that I needed to hear that right now?
I love it.
And you can put your own in there, and you can put your vision,
I love it.
and
What a great tool.
yeah. So I love it. I'm telling my team to get it. And one of my team members the other day, she said, oh my gosh, I just got the app today. And I'm going to tell you what a huge difference it is.
Yeah.
Because you're getting those reminders.
You're getting those reminders. And anytime I'm working with someone, I'm always, sometimes we think about like, the personal development work is like
Yes.
a, one step, right? And it's really a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
It is incorporating it into our daily lives. We can create more, we can attract more, we can do more with ease.
Right.
If we're inviting it in all the time versus
Yes.
just once a week or once a month or, once a year. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think we can be very intentional with how do we use our time, and whether it's a reminder like the I Am app or it's a, morning routine. Like I'm a big believer in morning routines. I have my own, I start with impact. I start my day in impact. So IMPACT. And then
I love that.
And then I end my day in my power, and then WER. So they all represent, like what my morning and, my morning routine and evening is. So
I love that.
So many ways. And if anyone is listening today and they want to grab that, I'll put a link in there too.
I would love it myself.
And it just is a great way to like start your day of like, hey, and again, like starting your day and ending your day with some sort of routine.
Yes.
Sets ourselves up for success.
Mm-hmm.
Sets ourselves up for success. And so it's powerful. So yay, I'm so excited that you're incorporating these and you're teaching your team these too, because that is how we can have more impact in the world, is by, being, not only us walking the walk, but also, encouraging other people to walk the walk alongside of us, which is powerful. Love it.
Yes.
Well, Julie, thank you so much for being here with us today. Where can people find more about you and the work that you're doing right now?
Oh yeah, you can you can email me. It's jkpinkdreams@gmail.com if you'd like to connect with me. I am also on Instagram at Julie M. Kraschinsky. I'm Julie M. Kraschinsky on Facebook as well. And if you want to check out my Mary Kay website, it's just marykay.com/jkraschinsky. And you can message me through there. You can read more about Mary Kay. You can find out about the products. And I'm just easy to find.
Perfect. Well, we'll put all that information down in the show notes.
Perfect.
So go connect and collaborate. We encourage people to, reach out and connect, because I think that's the power in creating our own support team and having other people that are like-minded along with us on this journey. So
that's key.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. I loved it. Thanks for your time.
Soon. Bye.
Bye.
I am so grateful that you joined me for this episode. If you've enjoyed this, then there's just one thing that I would like you to do. Click to subscribe and leave me a rating and review. As my way to thank you, let's connect for a free consultation. Just reach out to me at Talking With Teri, that's TERI.com, to book your time.